Hi, everybody. All right. This will probably be my last live stream today. I've been getting you with the live streams lately. There's just so much to do, and everyone's been asking me to share what it is I'm doing. And I guess I just take a lot of this for granted because I've been doing it for so long that other people need to know, I guess, this stuff. It's kind of a cool idea. I've been thinking about doing this for a few years, and finally I did it. Mind you, I did it very late. I finished this thing off the night it started snowing, and it was full of ice on the top, and I was trying to put my tuck tape, and it was very miserable doing so. I should have gotten on it earlier, but I had so many other things to do. So basically, you've probably seen me walking around this through my backyard when I'm talking to you guys. So this is a backyard gazebo, basically, right? We've had this for, oh, gosh, 15 years or so. It's starting to deteriorate a little bit. Like the arms, they're not as big as some of them, and they're rusting a little bit. And we've replaced the tarp a few times, and it's just blown off over the years. And I mean, really, it's held up really well, but it's a pretty solid structure otherwise. This just made me a little nervous. I wasn't sure how that was going to do, especially since we live in Canada. The weight of the snow and the ice and the rain made me nervous that it was going to bulge in between. And I had some problems with that, just on the one side closest to the house. But I had to come in here diligently and keep pushing it off with a shovel. So, okay, I digress. Ready? So this is basically one of these backyard porch things. This is a table. Don't worry about this plastic that was covering my plants. And if you can see that, what I've done is I covered it in vapor barrier. I have one layer of vapor barrier on the tops. I did some doubles on the sides because that just is how it worked out for me. I needed to be able to seal it really well. And I was trying to do the least amount of lines as possible to make this thing a little bit more sturdy. So I wrapped the corners in old rags to make sure any pokey sides were covered and it wouldn't rip the vapor barrier. So then don't use the crappy dollar store type tuck tape. It doesn't work nearly as well as the actual red tuck tape you get at the home stores. I'm not going to say their names because it just works better. Okay, get the proper vapor barrier. It is I think this is 3 mils. Is this 3 mils? I think so. And I had to use probably 2 rolls of it for this big gazebo. Now, if you had a small gazebo and you've got something on your back porch or in your back patio that maybe you never thought of that you could use as a cold frame. So my problem was last season, I had some peppers and tomatoes that I hadn't got. I was so late getting things into the ground, and I had a lot left. And I had grown a lot in my greenhouse. So the things that I didn't sell, I was keeping, obviously, and trying to get in. So in the meantime, it started getting cold, and I had these guys in bins. I got all matching bins. They're all in the driveway, all lined up, and they were growing, but they weren't quite to fruition yet. And so I was trying to rush this to get them in because I couldn't fit them all in my greenhouse because I put all my exotics in there. So this was a great structure. We had some really tough weather at the beginning of the winter, 100-mile-an-hour winds and stuff like that. I did have a problem one night. I have cinder blocks all on the outside. I don't know if you can see through the plastic, but I have cinder blocks holding the edges down, and I'm trying to keep it as tight as possible so that it held the plastic tight. When the plastic had more give, we had more trouble with the wind and the storm. So again, I had to come out here and push the snow off. It bulged pretty heavy. I was worried that this thing was going to collapse, especially since it's a little bit older. But all was well. That being said, it was a great first-year experiment, and it worked really well. My tomatoes and peppers, I got some to actually fruit. Other than that, what I did was I came out here really quickly and started planting my cold weather veggies, like, greens and root vegetables. Hi there. So greens and root vegetables, and I also planted my kitchen scraps. So butt ends of celery and things like that that I was done with, or onions that didn't look so great in the bag, potatoes that didn't look so great in the bag, beets maybe that weren't so happy, carrots and stuff like that. So I have quite an eclectic mix of things like that in here now. My peppers, obviously, and tomatoes died over the winter, and that's just fine. Again, like I said, I got some. I do have a thermometer in here, so I could monitor, an old school one, monitor what was going on. I do have electricity in here, and I have a light, so that was kind of cool because it was covered in. I could use the light, and I could even come out here at nighttime if I had to, and I could repair things if I had to, or if we had a bad storm. I also have one little tiny space heater. Still recovering from Easter? Yeah, me too. I'll tell you what. We have so much to do outside now. I'm trying to get back into this mode, right? But yeah, I feel ya. Easter was a long weekend, wasn't it? So I have a little space heater like that, and that kept this the chill out of here pretty well. Like, I'm surprised at how well. So you can see I do have some vegetables. This is a kai choy. I have some bok choys going. Here's some yu choy. I've got gai lan going. I've got my onions are all sprouted. Anything that I planted that were root vegetables came up. What else? Kale still alive in here. Celery. I have onions and spring onions and things like that. And cabbages, butt ends of cabbages. I've got parsley, happy, coming right back. Lettuces, butt ends that I put in. And a lot of bins that are ready for me to plant. They're all filled and they're, you know, they've got good compost in them now. And I'm able to just go ahead and start planting, which is fantastic because we're ready to get in the swing of things. It's actually 70 degrees here today, which is amazing. It's going to be 70 tomorrow. It looks like the 14-day forecast at the end of the month, we're going to go down to 34, just above freezing, but that could change. I don't know if I believe all that. So we'll see how that goes. I did put some plants outside today, things that are more cold hardy. But yeah, I've got things shooting already. It's hot in here. I mean, we're getting hot weather in here. I mean, it's been 85, topping 90 in here. So I've got to get these cold weather things out. I've got Brussels sprouts growing, all kinds of things. So, and I got my barbecue. So it protected my barbecue. It protected my structure that's kind of older. Yeah, I do have plants, lots of plants. This is just one of my cold frames. If you haven't seen my greenhouse, you should check that out. And I pretty much farm my whole lot. So this is a good start. And I've got a lot of work to do, obviously, and a lot of cleanup to do in here. But it kept it pretty nice. I also kept a rat trap in here, mice trap too, to make sure that no baddies came in, because they did come in a few times. They snuck in. Now, the one problem I had, the cinder blocks blew off the side of my patio the one night that the wind was so bad, and that made me nervous. I was coming out here all night. I could hear it whipping. But other than that, this thing held up. The tape held up. It held up. It's kind of hard to get in and out a little bit, but you just have to climb in, and that's okay. It was pretty easy to maintain. I mean, it was easy to maintain. I have some solar lights in here, so that's kind of fun too. And I have a couple tools in here just so that I could plant really quick, and it really turned out well. So I'm tuning in this live stream with you guys so that I could tell you, yeah, tomorrow it's coming down. So I don't know how this is going to go. I'm trying to figure out how to get it down in the easiest manner to keep it in good condition. I'm going to fold it up and put it up again next year. It's kind of cool. You can see out in the backyard through the plastic. It was kind of a neat space in the wintertime to be out here. It was kind of surreal because there was all snow outside and it was crazy out there and blustery, and you're in here and it's like a whole different world, you know. It was a little obviously colder than my greenhouse, but still not bad. I would wear a jacket. I was doing Zoom meetings out here to get some quiet from the house and my toddler. So it couldn't have been that cold. I was out here. It withstood a lot of storms over the winter. A lot of snow since January. We had quite a bit of snow. Before that, not so much. But we had high winds. And then the rain bulges this down, but it was only on one side, so it wasn't bad at all. I really thought it was going to be worse. I thought I was ready for some disaster for it to cave in, but it didn't. And that's fantastic. So now my My barbecue was covered. I didn't have to buy a barbecue cover. My table is all safe. You know, I thought it was great. So if you guys have a similar structure like this, maybe in your backyard, and you haven't thought of doing this, maybe next year, if you live in a cold climate like I do, it's a cool little space. Even the kids could come out here and play. It's kind of cool. It kept my cold hardy vegetables ready. It was a good place to start planting those root vegetables that will pop in the spring. You know, just consider it. It's a good way to start maybe gardening and getting a little more self-sufficient. It was nice to come out here and get fresh parsley in the middle of winter in Canada. Kind of cool to get kale in the middle of winter in Canada. There was a lot of different things that I was astounded. So if you give your plants a chance, they'll work for you. Anyway, kind of happy this is coming down. It's not as pretty, of course, but it was functional, and that was the point. It was practical and it was functional, and it was a cool experiment. So if you guys haven't experimented, I should take you on a tour outside so that you can see what it looks like. It's a big one. So heating this sucker, obviously the heat is going to the top, but that's just what I had to work with. If you have a smaller structure, then that might be worth doing. Also, this would have been a really great area for me to cold stratify seeds. So if I had, say, walnuts or almonds or berries that needed to be cold stratified, anything that needs to be cold stratified to grow, to pop, to be tricked into winter, would have been a great place for me to put it. Hold on, I'll tell you in 1 second. To put them in here so that they could cold strat for however long they need to over the winter, keep them a little bit moist. And it's all good. It would have worked beautifully for that purpose. And it also will keep the baddies out of here, so the squirrels aren't digging up your nuts, etc. What else was I going to say? Yes, I do have an orange tree. I just got a cold hardy orange called a trifoliate orange. I did keep it in my greenhouse because it's kind of like a smaller seedling, and I was just nervous. I'm always nervous when they say, oh yeah, it's cold hardy, but it always makes me nervous that it's not, and I'm just going to lose it outside. Plus, the bunnies were eating all my trees. They were rimming my berries and my fruit trees. Let me climb out of here. They were rimming them, and I didn't want that to happen to my little tiny baby trees. So I left him in there till he's a little bit bigger. So here's my structure from afar. So go on my back patio. So it's raised up on concrete, and I do have cinder blocks all the way around. I'll show you from this angle. But I'm excited because I'll be able to barbecue again. And that was one thing I was sad about, is that usually I'm barbecuing in the middle of winter. Even though it's snowing, I'll come out and I'll barbecue. But here you go. There's the structure. So, I mean, the red tape isn't awesome, but if you don't use that red tape, it's not going to work properly. So that's what I'm doing here. Tomorrow this is coming down. It's getting sliced up and it's getting folded down for next season. And I do hope that that works out well and I have somewhere to store it that's not obtrusive in my garage. So I'm kind of sad, but I'm kind of happy because it's going to be so much prettier and I'm going to be able to use that barbecue. Get my plants out. So that's my last live stream of the day, I think. I hope that it was a little bit interesting to you guys and that you think, you know, maybe more outside of the box than you have before. So here's my greenhouse and a similar structure. Oh, do you? My pork barbecue. Do you have orange trees, Airman? Here you go. Here's my giant greenhouse, and it's created similarly. I have vapor barrier and I've got bubble wrap in between, and then I have another layer of vapor barrier. Again, the tuck tape is like works wonders. This thing has been up for 2 years now. Not one issue, not one tear, nothing. And it's underneath a huge oak tree that tends to sometimes lose huge branches. It has acorns all in the fall coming down like torpedoes. Yeah, so here's my greenhouse. And again, this is a similar structure. And what I used was just a carport frame. So one of those, you know, those makeshift carports that people get with the tarp on top, and they use it for an extra, like for an extra car or something over the winter. Well, my neighbors were getting rid of it, and they actually let us use, they gave it to us. And the tarp lasted one more year, and then it ripped, and we couldn't use it again. And before we threw it all out, I said, no, I've got plans for that frame. So that's what I used. I took it all apart, brought it back to my backyard, reassembled it all, and started planning this greenhouse. Now, this isn't a traditional way to do a greenhouse, but it worked a charm. And it was hella cheaper than what they were quoting me and what they were telling me I needed. I didn't need that. And I live in Canada. So clearly, I got brave enough this winter to prove to everyone and myself. I put my exotics in here from my house. And it made me really nervous all winter. I do have a heater in here. I had it on all winter. I have a little grow light in there to make sure that it's getting some sun. But it worked. So there you go. A lot cheaper than anything that they're trying to sell you. Just saying. Anyway, I digress, and I will have to give another video for you guys and teach you how to do the greenhouse. Maybe you guys can do it too. Anyway, that's that. Cube is coming down. Bye, Cube. Say bye, everybody. Bye, Cube. It's kind of cool to look in there, huh? Anyway. All right, I'm signing off. I hope that you guys have been a champion today and you got something accomplished, whether it's inside, outside, in your kitchen, whatever. So I'm glad you guys tuned in. Thank you for tuning in and for communicating with me. I'm glad you're watching my cooking shows. Yeah, that's it. I'm Kim Turner. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you, Airman. Thank you, O. What did you say about refried? Stumbled on your channel. Thank you for helping. You're welcome. The refried beans, that's a popular video. Hey, you got to doctor them up. Sometimes you just don't want to make them from scratch and you just want to get them out of the can, but you want to make them better. And that's a great video. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in too. Bye, everybody. Ciao.